Hi, I'm Grey Tiger, and it's time for yet another race mechanics video where we take a look at the unique mechanics for each of the races in Warhammer 2. Last time we dealt with the Empire. Today we'll take a look at the Greenskins, what mechanics they have for each of the legendary lords, and the race as a whole. Early this year the Greenskins were in a pretty bad place, with their war and fightiness mechanics really showing their age. Now, after the excellent Warden and the Paunch DLC and their Old World update, the Greenskins are one of the most enjoyable races to play. I really hope that the upcoming Wood Elves DLC manages to reinvigorate them as well as the Greenskins were. So, how did the Greenskins mechanics change, and what new mechanics did they receive? Well, let's start by looking at the mechanics that all their legendary lords share. First up is the reputation resource that is earned from battles and raising settlements. The harder the battle, the more reputation earned, so a hard-fought loss can give more reputation than an easy victory. This is a very orky touch, since they love to fight. The resource gained is displayed on a progress bar along the top of the screen and is split into 4 tiers, with the lowest tier causing penalties to growth and obedience in your lands, along with leadership penalties for troops and an increase to unit recruitment costs. As you gain more reputation and move through the tiers, the penalties change to bonuses to the previously mentioned stats. When you reach maximum reputation, then you unlock the ability to call a war. Our second mechanic is the campaign war, which allows the player to call a war on a selected target faction. Once the target is chosen, then additional units are drawn to your war armies, which are now attached to your main force, in much the same way that horde factions are tied to their buildings. You gain 4 to 5 units per turn, until you reach the size of the main army the war is attached to. Each of the Greenskin lords have a chance to recruit different unit types into their war armies that the others cannot. Grimgor has a chance to receive Black Orcs, Skarsnik can gain Doom Divers, Waaaghi can receive Savage Orcs, Grom can receive Snotling Pump Wagons, and Azag can have Wyverns. This is a nice touch that gives each lord a bit more of a unique feel. Once the war is called, you have a limited amount of time to raise or occupy the targeted faction's capital. If you succeed, you gain bonuses based on the power ranking of the faction you have attacked. The stronger the faction, the greater the rewards received. You also receive additional reputation to build momentum toward raising your next war. This update to the war mechanics is a huge improvement over the original design, which had issues with the fightiness and with the occasional stupidity of the old separate war armies. Having the war army now attached to your main force feels like you have a real green horde, with which to lay waste to your foes, and ensures you no longer lose that army to the AI's idiotic choices. The new targeting system for the war, and the levels of rewards earned for completing a war, are just the icing on top of a big green cake. As I see the Greenskins Old World update as an excellent update overall, and hopefully it sets a standard that all future updates manage to attain. Our next mechanic that was added in the Warden and the Paunch DLC is the scrap upgrade system, where you can use scrap collected from battles and raise settlements to unlock technologies, and more importantly, to upgrade individual units. Once you have enough scrap, you can select a unit and choose from a number of possible upgrades to that unit. This is a simple mechanic, but a great addition which makes me feel more attached to my individual units, to the point where I find I am more protective of them in battle. The system is so good that we have seen it spread to several other factions, thanks to the efforts of the modding community, and I even started off my Warhammer modding adventure by creating a version of this mechanic for both the Lizardmen and the Wood Elves. Next up is the Battlefield War system, which improves your troops' combat abilities for a short period during the battle. As your troops fight in melee combat, a progress bar is filled, and once this reaches its maximum, the war ability is unlocked. The player can then choose to unleash the war at an opportune time. If you remain in melee combat long enough, you can trigger several wars during a single battle. This is again a very orcish mechanic, leaning into their love of fighting, and I like the extra touch that each of the Greenskin legendary lords have a slight change to the bonuses provided during the battle, though some extra changes to further differentiate them would be appreciated, such as each of the legendary lords also unlocking a personal war ability, in tandem with their army's war. With this, we could see Grimgor gain a temporary Bloodlust effect, where he gains health as he inflicts damage, or we could have Azag gain an aura which drains the vigour from surrounding enemies. Our final race-wide mechanic currently in the game is the Underway, which is the same mechanic that the Dwarves and Skaven have, which allows for quicker movement under difficult to traverse terrain, or even under impassable terrain, like mountain ranges. There's not really much I can say about this mechanic that I have not said before. It serves a purpose, and fits quite well with the Greenskins' overall theme. So, what possible new mechanic could we give to the Greenskins? I thought that since the fightiness meter is gone, I'd add back in something related to the Orcs' love of combat, but not as a hindrance at the army level like it used to be. Instead, as an optional system that can be used to improve your lords and heroes. This new mechanic would be the arena, where you can select a lord or hero to compete in combat games amongst the various tribes, in much the same way you can use lords and heroes with Clan Eshin to complete contracts. So you would select a hero to take part in the combat, and that hero would leave your roster for X number of turns. When the competition had completed, your hero would return and their ranking in the arena combat would be announced. We could even have something similar to Total War Saga Troy, where we can choose to watch the combat. If the hero did poorly, then he would have shamed the tribe and would suffer penalties to leadership and some combat abilities. Nothing too severe though. He would be able to overcome these penalties by fighting in battles and recovering his mojo. If the hero placed well, then he would have earned the respect of the tribe, and would gain bonuses to leadership and combat abilities for X number of turns. If the hero should win the arena, then a magical item would be rewarded on top of the bonuses to his stats. Regardless of whether the hero wins or loses, they would gain a sizable amount of XP, and this would prove a quick way of parrying heroes through those lower levels. On top of the basic arena system, I feel that Orcs would love to bet on these sorts of things, so a possible extension could be to allow the player to wager gold on the outcome of your hero's fights, with the hero perhaps gaining a small bonus in the arena based on the amount wagered. This could prove a very effective, yet very risky strategy to gain gold quickly. There are plenty of random events and actions in the game, so I don't believe that this would be too out of place. What are your thoughts? Do you want to see your favourite hero in the arena? Now, onto the mechanics of the individual legendary lords. Firstly, there is Grimgor Ironhide, the Green Slaughterer. He has the Harbinger of Gork effect, which grants bonuses to campaign movement, Black Orc and Big Gun recruitment costs, and allows the recruitment of Black Orc big bosses from the start. For unique mechanics, he has his modifications to the Waaaghi recruitment system, where he can get Black Orcs in his Waaaghi army, and his in-battle Waaaghi bonuses, which increase melee attack, armor-piercing damage, weapon damage, and make his units immune to psychology. What mechanic might we give to Grimgor? In his lore, it mentions that he is the true embodiment of the Bloodlust spirit shared by all Orcs, so we will give him a mechanic based on that. Bloodlust is gained in battle, much like Reputation, and unlocks bonuses to Orcs and Black Orcs. There are 9 tiers with increasing bonuses, and at tiers 3 and 7 the player can unlock unique Black Orc units. This mechanic would see your Bloodlust fall if you fight easy battles, as Grimgor wants a good hard fight with the best of foes. The unique Black Orc units unlocked would come with their own abilities to make them a true terror on the battlefield, and would help boost the fighting effectiveness of other Orcs around them. Our second legendary lord is Skarsnik, the true warlord of 8 Peaks. At least, he thinks so. He has the Pernicious Precision effect that lowers the cost of hero actions and lowers recruitment and upkeep for goblins and night goblins. He also has access to unique building chain in Carrick 8 Peaks once he has retaken it. For his unique mechanic, he has his quest to retake Carrick 8 Peaks, and until he does so, his armies are limited to non-orc units. He also has a chance to recruit Doom Divers into his Waaaghi armies, as well as unique bonuses for the in-battle Waaaghi mechanic that grant additional armor-piercing missile damage, weapon damage, armor-piercing melee damage, and melee attack. Since Skarsnik is such a sneaky Git, we will give him a mechanic focused around that. The Sneaky Gits mechanic will allow Skarsnik's armies to summon units during battle, much like the Skaven can, though Skarsnik's units would have been shrouded by his sneaky tactics. There would be 6 different units that could be summoned, with each representing a different tribe and having a unique set of bonuses. To unlock the units and to gain their bonuses would cost scrap, with each tier of the bonuses becoming more expensive to attain. Each unit would have a limit of 1 summon per battle. As well as the summoned units, Skarsnik would also have access to the Shrooms of the 8 Peaks, which are unlocked as Skarsnik reaches certain levels in the campaign. The first to unlock at level 10 would be the Shroom of Darkness, which would provide Skarsnik and other lords with an aura ability that would limit the fighting effectiveness of enemies around them as they struggle to see through the magical energies. This aura would last for a short period and would be limited to 2 uses per battle. The second to unlock at level 20 would be the Shroom of Despair, which would allow Skarsnik to target an enemy unit that would then suffer massive leadership penalties. This would be limited to a single use per battle. The final ability to unlock at level 30 would be the Shroom of Doom, which would see a tear open across the battlefield that would inflict massive damage on any unit caught in its path. This would be limited to a single use per battle. The third legendary lord is Waaaghi, the Great Green Prophet. He has the Prophet of Renown effect, which lowers enemy hero success chance and increases charge bonus for all Savage Orc units. For his interaction with the race mechanics, he has the chance to recruit Savage Orcs into his war armies, along with bonuses to physical resistance, weapon damage, armor-piercing damage, and melee attack for the in-battle war system. Waaghi's new mechanic will be Savage Warpaint, where the player can collect different paints from defeating foes in battle, sacking or occupying settlements, or fulfilling quests. These paints are split into offensive and defensive categories. The player would apply 1 pigment from each category that, when mixed, would provide a unique set of bonuses, but would also inflict a small penalty to an unrelated stat. As an example, the player may combine a teal pigment from the offensive category with a flesh pigment from the defensive category, which may provide bonuses to melee attack, weapon damage, melee defense, and missile resistance, but would also reduce the unit movement speed. The pigments would be limited resources, with each use lowering their number, and the player would have to reacquire them if they were exhausted. The effects would apply to all units across all of Waaghi's armies and would last about 10 turns. The fourth legendary lord is Grom the Paunch, who has the War against Ulthuan effect that grants a global reduction to recruitment time for goblins. He has a chance to recruit Snotling pump wagons into his war armies, and in battle, bonuses to melee attack, weapon damage, and armor-piercing weapon damage. For a unique mechanic, he has the Grom's Cauldron, where the player collects ingredients from the ingredient vendor and from completing actions throughout the campaign, such as winning battles and sacking settlements. Combining ingredients in Grom's Cauldron can result in powerful recipes, with a variety of benefits for the tribe that last for a number of turns. You can combine 2 ingredients together with the ability to increase this to 4 ingredients later in the campaign. This is a very fitting mechanic for Grom and provides some really good benefits. Our final legendary lord is Azag the Slaughterer. He has the Evil Crown effect, which grants better relations with vampire counts, an increased research rate, and an increased income from sacking settlements. He also gains the chance to recruit wyverns into his war armies, and has bonuses to weapon damage, melee attack, armor-piercing damage, along with his units causing terror when the battle war is activated. The new mechanic for Azag is the Whispering Crown, where every X number of turns a dilemma is presented that requires the player to choose to focus on Azag or the Crown. Each focus has a unique set of bonuses with 6 tiers and 2 unlockable battle abilities. The player needs to progress through the 6 tiers to unlock the first ability, at which point the tiers are reset, and the player needs to progress through the tiers again to unlock the second ability. The Azag focus bonuses concentrate on Orcs and Biguns, with the 2 abilities feeding into this. The first ability to unlock would be the Call of the Green Tide, which grants all Orcs and Biguns on the battlefield additional melee attack and bonus for infantry. The second ability is the Standard of Azag, which when activated increases the leadership of all units on the battlefield and also calls a bolt of magical energy down onto the battlefield, causing damage and leadership penalties to all units it hits. The Crown focus bonuses concentrate on undead units, which Azag gains the ability to recruit using this mechanic. The first ability, the Dead Spill Forth, allows the summoning of zombies during battle and increases the fighting effectiveness of all undead units. The second ability, the Standard of the Crown, opens a portal that pulls in units and drains the life from all units in a large area around the portal. When this is activated, Waaghi regenerates health from the portal. Well, that brings us to the end of the mechanics for the Greenskins, with some interesting proposals. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what can be done to improve the Greenskins and what mechanics you would add. Next time, we'll take a look at the High Elves and examine their race and lore mechanics. I hope you will join me then. I would like to thank you for watching the video, and as always, I'd love to hear your feedback. Finally, a very special thanks to my first patron, Skimmelit. Your support is very much appreciated, and I am so humbled that you chose to back me and my content. Thank you. I'm Grey Tiger, and I'll see you next time.